Hello, my dear Simnatic Amigo. Welcome to my channel once again. Mario Alfonso here. If you didn't subscribe, please do, or give me a like or a dislike, whatever. Leave your comments and expressions on the comment section. Everything is good here. This is a little Championship Manager family. And the title of the video today is the AI limited? So, without further ado, addressing the elephant in the room directly, I'll have to say that the AI is not exactly very intelligent. Now, is it? There are a good few limitations that they tend to repeat and to show all the time. And they are more prominent when you go into a small club. Okay, and I'll explain why very shortly if you don't know this already, of course. Regardless, they are very limited. They are so limited that the only way that you can get a good level of difficulty, let's say, of course, besides going to a big league, is to give them some really badass tactics so they can fight against you, okay? But regardless of the tactical situation that anyone uses, there are always the player selection and other factors that make a good player of Championship Manager or a bad player. Decisions, I guess. Tactic is fundamental, let's make no mistakes, but still. There is a lot to be desired when it comes to the intelligence that the AI reveals on a constant basis. I am here with Enskere, and I'm just using a shit or a bad league, at least to give you the example that I'm trying to say. So for example, look at this guy here, Victor D'Oliveira Silva, right? This is a guy I signed for I don't even know, it doesn't show there, which is weird. Let's see, when did I sign this guy? I signed him for 550k from Amarby. And the guy, as you can see, 2 years in Amarby, he did 0 games, okay? He's a very decent striker for this level, I would say. But Amarby chose, to play with other strikers. For example, even these guys that I just saw here, this Venezuelan, the Swedish guy, not really. But there are interesting players here, like this South African, for example, might be a good striker, whatever, but who do they choose? As you can see, they choose Soderstrom to play, and they choose this Johansson dude. Isn't that just very sad to see? Very sad. They signed this guy from me for 925, which is absolutely stupid, and I got the other guy from them for 550. That's how stupid they are. And this extends to the rest of the team, I'm sure, if they have the players, of course. But probably, I would say that it's questionable how they make the team. As you can see, for example, a left back here is playing as a central defender. Okay? He's here forever, so he's got some status, whatever. Let's just see if there is nothing else that could take his shoes. They don't actually identify the talent directly. They go for what? What does the AI value in the end of the day? The club history, or where you signed the player from, what kind of status that brought to the player's career, okay? And they don't really care about that potential that is there, unless it's just scandalously good or whatever. They will have a tendency of doing very poor selections all the time. This kid, for example, they signed here for 50k. Nothing, not even one chance there to show his value, and they choose to play with this left back, for example, there. Okay? This Swedish guy, perhaps. This guy is an international Hungarian, so they're gonna always choose that for sure. Caps are one of the main things that make them choose the players, I'm sure. And let's check another example. AIK, North Korean playing there as a striker. That is a new for me. Honestly, I wouldn't expect that. I would expect someone like this guy who played last season, as you can see, and he's horrible, but he played last season, a good few matches. Not this guy as well, I guess. He's too bad. Look at this Colombian, for example. He barely plays here, and look at him. You can see that this guy would be a complete goal poacher here in this league for sure. You can just get him for 500k or something like that, probably. And madness, like 1 million if they play hard. This Czech dude they signed doesn't play. They play with Rossi, right? And they play with Yun. Probably both of them. This guy goes to the North Korea under 21, so probably that's why they even considered him. But as you can see, for example, like, come on, let's not deny that Ruiz should be the guy, and probably Mika. Something like that anyway. That would be a better selection. And probably the thing extends depending on the tactic they use, so forth, so on and so forth. It's always kind of the same situation, right? Which is kind of annoying. No matter how good of a tactic you give them, sure, that will make them badass. But if you go specially to smaller divisions, they always make these poor decisions. Another thing they value slightly is the transfer value of the player, but I guess that comes attached to his current status as it stands. So it's hard to distinguish that thing. There's a good goalkeeper, there's a Jamaican with potential, a Nigerian guy, whatever. Still, they will value their own players, the Swedish ones with internationalizations. That is the thing. They don't really make the best decisions here. And that's how you get like a lot of good players for no money whatsoever, because they should be noticed by their managers and they should actually play, but they're not. So what can you do? Fuck it, right? If you go to a big club, like a huge club that signs players for 30 million and they're all international, stuff like that, like a Liverpool of life, doesn't matter who, that thing won't be as noticeable because the players have status, they have everything going on for them, so it's easy for them to make the right choice. Let's just say it's very easy for them to make the right choice, or way easier. But in smaller clubs, man, that is just absolutely eminent, and it's kind of ridiculous. What can we do? They have a basic grasp on the players' positions as well, the best adaptability for them. If they play with the X tactic, it doesn't matter if it's like this, whatever. They can put like a defensive midfielder playing here instead of a badass attacking midfielder center, something like that. They're not too obsessed if these guys here are forwards as well as attacking midfielders or just forwards, something like that. Not at all. They can just be attacking midfielders. They don't have that intelligence, I guess, that humans have. That's why it's so much cooler to play against someone, because they actually know what they're doing. Let me see this guy. Signed this guy. He was actually playing for Sirius discreetly, so not a good example, but it's Sirius again. Yeah. This guy was in Östersund, Dossies, for example. Östersund plays with this shit. Look at him. In Sundberg. And they sold me this guy for 4K. 4K. It's like, it just never ends. There are X examples of what I'm talking about all the time. They leave these potential stars in the shadow constantly. Another example is my most recent save. Just to make sure. Yeah. It's the same story. For example, I have a guy here who I already signed for January. This guy, Bradley Fuster. And you look at him, okay, he's not amazing. But I'm gonna sign this guy for like nada, like 70K, something like that, whatever. He didn't play one freaking game for Gillingham. They signed him. He played one game here. He had 2 assists, man of the match, played 9. Never played again, ever. Why is that? Because they're playing with this crap. Nembard, make your judgment. Davis, 35-year-old English dude. He has a history, so club history there going forward as well. That gives that player has more status in his history, so they don't. Even this guy is not playing at all. This wrist Turner, and he could easily take that spot, in my eyes, at least. But for sure, not this. This is really, really bad, right? That's just bad. Bad and bad. Nothing wrong playing with a forward there, but like the examples are these pretty much. The only solution you have like for the AI for real is to give them a badass tactic. And still, if you are competent enough, after a while, once you have like signed a few players, get your team organized, you will probably prevail. Okay, regardless of the tactical stuff. Okay, of course you will adapt your tactic to whatever is happening. The better, for the best, for the worst, whatever. Things will fluctuate, but this situation here, this space issue is never, ever gonna end. And you will find it on any version of Championship Manager. Doesn't matter if it's the GS mode that I'm using here or any other update or the original Virgin Championship Manager version, the vanilla one. It really doesn't matter. The situation is always going to be the same. And it doesn't really matter. It's just something that I cannot understand. Let me see another future transfer that I have for free. Let me see some guy. It might be good. This guy is in Sporting, so probably Sporting has some options. I'm not going to use him as an example from. Let me see the central defender who is from Shrewsbury. He barely plays. Let's see what's going on. So they prefer to play with this Jackson dude. Apparently, he hasn't been playing the whole season, but for as few appearances, he's shit. This guy there, just lost around. This Grenadian dude. This horrible player, like for example, okay? Not in bad form overall, but is he really the guy to put there? I don't think so. Guys, it's just pretty obvious that that shouldn't happen. These two guys here, Jackson, and no Williams playing. What am I going to do? I'm going to sign this guy for nothing. For a shitty little fee. And there are more examples, I guess. This guy's from Auxerre. This guy comes from Salford at the end of the season, so it doesn't really matter. But I think you guys got the idea. So, they value club history, internet caps, of course, the caps, the transfer value sometimes depending, because if you sell them, one of your players, and he's not capped, or all the pinnacle of his career was you, they'll have a tendency of leaving him in the bench as well. That's another one that they don't grasp at all, which is weird, but it's the truth, okay? So pretty much another random little talk here about all the championship manager situations. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give us a like, and I'll see you very shortly. The channel is bombing. Adios. Bye.